Good morning, everybody. Pat Ziemer here with MagnaWave for this edition of the Tuesday office hours. Glad to be with you this morning. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the thread, and we will answer those questions for you, and we look forward to doing that. If there's something that you'd like to talk about and you want to give me a call and have me talk to you, just simply text your name to 502-599-9722, and then I will phone you back and we can have the conversation or talk about anything that you might like to discuss on this morning's edition of MagnaWave Office Hours. So just dial 502-599-9722, text me your name, and I will get right back to you at that point. I'll leave that up for a few minutes if anybody wants to take a look at that and give me a call. Good morning, Hazel. Good morning, Kate. Geared for Life Design and Gifts. Good morning. And Sarah, good morning. Thank you for being with us this morning. Folks are joining us, and hopefully they'll have some things that they want to talk about. I do have a couple of questions that have come up. Tina asked, how frequently should you treat a horse that has brachial plexus? What's a nerve condition on a person that comes off the back of their neck as the nerves go into their armpit and can be debilitating to the movement of the arm and what they may be doing? And the same thing in a horse as it comes down the neck. It can go into the shoulder and cause some problems in the leg, and with as far as walking, as far as peripheral damage or peripheral problems with neuropathy, so on and so forth. So how often would I treat? I would treat as often as possible. Certainly protocol to look at when we approach many of those types of conditions is that we treat 5 to 7 days in a row if possible. And then you kind of back off a little bit and see how things are going. One treatment when you're dealing with nerves, it's tough because to get the inflammation, to get the stabilization in nerves is much more difficult than it is to gain stabilization of soft muscle tissue and so forth. So it's going to take more treatments to do that. If you remember with the thing that I talk about quite often with Dee Dee, my wife, when she has 3 herniated discs, and it took us actually a period of about 90 days worth of treatments to get her to where she had 4 weeks worth of relief after 1 or 2 treatments. So we treated her for 90 days. She had 4 weeks worth of relief, and then she needs another 2 or 3 treatments, and then she gets 4 weeks worth of relief. Well, that can very well be the same type situation here. Now, we don't know what's causing the brachial plexus, but in this particular instance, but still, it's just harder to get inflammation, to get things in a nerve. Quite often, we've talked about with someone having nerve issues or problems in their hands. Let's say they carpal tunnel or something like that. 1 treatment may get them some relief for a couple hours. 2 treatments may get them relief for a day. 3 treatments may get them relief for a couple of days. So you just kind of work that through. And that I would stay on it in that type situation. I would treat as often as necessary to try to get some relief. You may not really notice too much on the first couple of treatments, but you would hope that you would, because that's one of the beauties of our high power PEMF treatments, is that typically you're able to garner some type of immediate response to give you some direction on where you want to go and how you want to approach the particular situation that you're dealing with. If you're hearing some hammering or things in the background, we came home from Florida, but putting some new doors in the house to kind of tighten it up a little bit, and that's going on right now, and so you might hear a little hammering in the background. If you do, I'm sorry and apologize for that happening. But at any rate, you want to, when you're dealing with that type of indication, more is certainly better than 1 or 2 treatments to deal with an indication like brachial plexus. Great question, though, Tina. Appreciate you asking. Let's take a look over here on Restream and see if we've got any questions that have come up at this point. Nope, Tim's with us. Good morning, Tim. How are you? Christine's with us also. Good morning, Christine. So if you have any questions, just put them in the thread, and I will be certainly get them. If you'd like to talk to me, the number's on the screen, 502-599-9722. Let me come back over here. No Castbox sound. Okay, let's take a look at Castbox. Wonder why no sound. You're in recording mode. Don't know. Don't have a clue. Autoplay listeners 2. Hazel's with us on Castbox. I don't know why. I'll try to mic. Oh, may not be able to share the mic with StreamYard. That could very well be. So we'll just leave that alone. In fact, what I'll do is it says we're on air, but I'll leave it there. If we don't get anything kicks on, it kicks on. Sorry for that inconvenience for those of you who are with us on Castbox this morning. Okay, let's come back over here to Restream and see any other questions. Good morning, Johnson's Equine Edge from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Glad that you're with us this morning. Tom asked a question. He's got a 9-year-old Holsteiner chestnut who is a real handful in the cross ties, whether she is in the wash stall, tacking area, or in the aisle. So we got a horse that is always a bit jittery in those types of situations. I've managed to use large butterfly to give her full body treatments, but she is constantly moving around and very fidgety. I've tried calming points, but nothing seems to settle her down. I have a max and I'm using fairly low setting. Any suggestions on how to get her settled down? Well, one way that some people do with horses is to treat the legs. I would maybe come back and treat the one or two of the front legs. That seems to have a calming effect on them. I would treat the aspirin point certainly on the hock, at the top of the hock, to maybe that can cause some calming. The comment that he said is and using a fairly low setting. What I would do is use initially a definitely low setting, and go at it from that direction. Because even though you're using a very, very low setting, maybe something you're not even hearing, is still providing some therapy to the animal and to the areas that you're treating. The other thing that you might do, and we've done this in the past, if you're going to use the large butterfly loops or the wave wings, is to put them on the horse without the machine running and just let them be there. Put them on the horse. Hold the horse. In other words, put your arm up around the neck of the animal. Just let them know that they're comfortable, and these coils are on there, and even with nothing going, just get them used to what's happening. Now, certainly, if the horse is always a problem in the cross ties, there's no reason to think that it's going to calm down utilizing the MagnaWave PEMF therapy. However, we would hope that with some practice, we might get the horse to where it understands and it relaxes a bit. Don't be afraid to, if you're going to go up to the horse and put the large wave wings, if you will, over the shoulders. That could be an issue in itself. Now that I'm sitting here thinking about that, if you've got an animal or a person that's temperamental, to stimulate a large area of tissue is not always necessarily the thing you want to do. So you might want to come back and use the butterfly loop, or if you have the paddle, use the paddle on a very low setting, like you're brushing the animal, and they'll get more comfortable to that. But if you're trying to do a large area, even I've experienced this with the large loop, the 12-inch large loop that we have, sometimes that's just too much tissue stimulation for a sensitive animal to be comfortable and to not want to move around. So I would simply bring the size down, potentially. That's one way. Do what I just said. Treat the legs, move up, put the large loops over the shoulders, hug the horse, if you will, calm the horse, pet the horse while it's there, then turn it on very, very, very low, let it become comfortable with that, and then begin to move it up. If you get to a level that is still considered low and the horse becomes fidgety, don't go any higher. Allow it to be comfortable. Just leave it on the shoulders a little longer. Leave it on there an extra 5 minutes or so if you're doing the full body of the shoulders, and approach it that way. Other option, of course, as I've just mentioned, is to go with a smaller coil to not stimulate so much tissue, also have that on low, and to begin to work on it. So basically, we want to sneak up on the horse in a manner that is comfortable to them, that they know what's going on, and they'll allow you to do what you want to do. That would be my suggestion. There's another question that has come up. I'll come to that one too, where someone's had a horse that would not allow a treatment for full body. And first time she's ever had this type of situation. And there's always that horse or there's always that person that just is not comfortable with what's going on. In people, we talk about maybe 1 out of 100 people who just cannot tolerate this type of signal. That's the same kind of person that maybe gets headaches in front of their computer or in front of their television, or they're irritated by high voltage wires outside. So they, whether it's a toxin level or it's just the body sensitivity, we all are different in our sensitivities and our senses. So you're going to have that, and you can have that same situation in an animal as well, whether it's a small animal or a horse or a cow, whatever it may be. You can get into those types of situations that it's just very difficult to do. But again, I would always revert back to the smaller coil, lower setting, stimulating less tissue, can be a little more involved in terms of what you're doing as far as covering the area, but it's what you're going to do. In the beginning, we didn't have the large wave wings. All I had was the large loop and a butterfly. So if the large loop was too much, I'd go down to the butterfly, and that was it. And I'd work up gradually and approach it from that type of situation. Lee asked the question, got a client's horse diagnosed with EPM, has run the course of meds. Would it be safe to treat now? Yes. Once the meds are complete, that's the position that we've taken over the years, because that's the position most veterinarians over the last 10 years or so have felt that's the way to do it. Do the meds, then come back and treat. And she goes on, even if another round of marquees is in the off and is scheduled, certainly. I would not worry about that. There are veterinarians today that talk about treating during the medication cycle, and technically that should be fine, because it would enhance potentially the metabolism of the medications that are being supplied and delivered, and a lot of people can approach it from that position as well. However, I would check that with the veterinarian and make sure that you're all on the same page with how you're approaching it and what you're doing. So that's certainly one way to do it. But yes, once the treatments are completed with the EPM, that's always been our go-to comment at the point you're safe to treat. Check with your vet. All right, let's see. There was another question. I took that one. There's a picture of a dog. Okay. Okay, Brianna is looking for some pictures to use with business cards. Brianna, call the office and talk with Chris in the art department and tell him what you're looking for, and he can help you find the particular graphic that you want. And of course, he's got piles of graphics. He may be able to find something to take care of what you need. And certainly, if you wish, he can help you produce your cards and get them taken care of for you as well. So call the office, talk to Chris, the artist in the art department, and he'd be happy to help you out. If you have any other questions, let me come over here and check Restream and see what we may have coming up. We've got good morning from Myrtle Beach again. So if you have any questions, just put them in the chat box, and we'd be happy to have a look at them and answer your questions as well. Okay, let's see. Suggestions for the person with a nervous horse. Work on it in the stall, untied or held by someone. I like to double a large loop and put my hand between the horse and the loop, so I'm stroking while working, start working the withers and go back. Great comment, and I appreciate that. Thank you for sharing that with us, and that's a good idea. That's kind of what we were talking about. Don't be afraid to, when you're working on the horse, show your emotion, show what you want to do to be with the horse. And that is certainly always comforting and helps them relax. How long does it take to service the Pulse Pro? Like, how long am I going to be without it? Two things that can happen there, depending where you are. Call the office and talk to Lee. Lee's our customer service advocate, and she will certainly take care of you on that. If you're busy and you got a lot going on, there are ways to get you loaner machines to have in your hands, so you can use that and then send your machine in. Typically, a machine that goes to PMF Solutions for a repair is in the shop for 2 or 3 days and back out to you. They tell me they're trying to get that to where they can turn those in and out of the shop in a day. It's always a challenge with everything going on, though. But you might want to figure with shipping and everything, probably a week to a week and a half They're more centrally located than the California offices, and so it's easier to get things in and out more quickly. Whereas in California, if you want to send a machine, it takes a week to get there, 2 or 3 days in the shop, a week to get back. So you're looking at 2.5, 3 weeks in many cases there. So what I'd recommend is call the office. 502-742-7868, 502-742-7868, and ask for Lee, and she will talk you through and explain that whole situation to you, Tanya, and help you get taken care of at that point. Let's see if there's anything else over here. Any other questions? Oh, yeah. Let's see. John's got a question. John Stevens. Treated a lady that fell a couple of times over 18 months ago and had issue just one side of her coccyx. She had one session with my therapist and said it was worse the next day. I treated her. She said the next day was horrendous. The following day after that, it was still worse than normal. 2 days after that, said it's back to the baseline pain, which was bad in any way. I've never once treatment again. Have you seen that? Well, you don't know the extent of the injury. I can say that when treating folks, if they're not getting any relief after 2 or 3 treatments, they need to see a doctor, for sure. It's just one of those things. There could be a break there. There could be a nerve entanglement from the fall, and it's just something that has to be dealt with. Don't know what the settings were, but if you get that type situation, and again, I'll go back and relate to whether it doesn't make any difference, whether it's a person or an animal. If you treat them 2 or 3 times and they're not having any relief, there's something else going on that needs to be dealt with. You gave it a shot and you worked at it, but you can't, if it's really anatomical, something going on in there, you want to let that be handled by a professional. Not that you're not a professional, you understand what I'm saying, but by a doctor or someone who can look at that. The other thing to think about it could be a strength issue. Depending on where it's at, you maybe need to treat very, very, very subtly and for maybe a little more time in those type situations, and allow that to develop accordingly. Haven't had that. We don't see that often. Typically, as we've said, you treat someone and they get some form of immediate response. Subsequent treatments continue the improvement. As I say, treat as long as function continues to improve, and then treat as often to maintain function. If function doesn't improve, there's something else going on that needs to be looked at in a different fashion. It could be a chiropractic adjustment is required to get things in place, stop a pinching that could be going on and get that in place. And then we can come in and use our apparatus to begin to relieve the inflammation and relieve the pain in those types of situations. Let me take a look here. A lot of folks with us this morning. See if there's any other questions here that are coming that are there. All right, I don't see anything there. Let's see. She's getting a scan soon, hoping to hear back from her. Good, that's good. Full body and then concentrate on the affected. What's this? Scan, semi-3 middle setting. You're using the middle setting. That should be certainly not too strong with the semi-3 when treating that type of situation. But in some cases, you might be best to start on low the first. Do a few minutes. Do a few minutes on low, stop, see how they're doing, then move up to the middle setting or the medium setting on the semi-3 and see where that goes. But again, she's doing the right thing. If you don't get that response pretty well quickly, that's how it needs to be potentially approached. It's just my luck. I understand, John. That does happen, and but you just need to. It's true. We don't solve everything in every type of situation. Good morning, Gwendlinda. How do you say that? Gwendlinda. Okay, good. Good morning. We're glad that you're with us this morning. And John talking about just my luck. Okay, if you'd like to talk to me, please send I think Chris can put that up there. He's got in control of the control room. The phone number is 502-599-9722, and I'd be happy to visit with you. Remember, if you call, send us a text and I call you back, then you'll be entered to win some MagnaWave swag and a swag bag. They got mugs, hats, shirts, brochures, all kinds of stuff in it. So give me a call. Let's visit a little bit and get you some swag. for your use in what's going on. And I was looking this morning at my shirts and stuff that I was going to wear today, and think about we have a new logo, and so that's probably need to move my stuff over to the Glenda. Okay, great, thank you. I apologize for not pronouncing it properly, Glenda. So I thank you so much, and I'll remember that in the future. But a lot of neat things heading out as far as promotional materials. New commercials are being made that are certainly be available to you folks to use in your businesses. And I've been doing some studying. As you know, I've started a second company dealing with hemp and supplements, and so I'm doing some hacking, not email, but some hacking of Facebook and LinkedIn, and trying to work things back and forth to help communicate with folks in that regard. And I've learned that there's a lot of neat little things that we can do for you as MagnaWave practitioners to give you an opportunity to help find people in your neighborhood who would be potential customers for you. So hop on over to LinkedIn, look up Patrick Ziemer, and join me over there. And we're going to start some conferences to deal with things that you can do on Facebook and LinkedIn to help potentially improve your customer base and make better contact with your customers in order to help your business grow. Again, that's LinkedIn, Pat Ziemer or Patrick Ziemer. Come on over and send me a message. Let's connect, and then we'll start sharing some information back and forth to maybe help you with some of the social media things that you want to deal with as you move forward with your business. Send me a text, 502-599-9722, and we will answer your questions or have whatever conversation you'd like to have. Kelly says she recently had a trainer want me to be with them at the track races. I am getting my groom's license. Where do I find rules and regulations that I can and cannot use at the track? This is in Arizona on thoroughbred track. I believe that's Arizona track. Thank you in advance. Well, typically, Kelly, there's you want to go, and some tracks will require you to register as a therapist, and you want to show your certification badge or your certification certificate, and so they understand that you have the training that many tracks require. Some require that you sign up as a vendor. And then you want to make sure what that particular tracks or the track veterinarian's guidelines are. For example, in Kentucky, there's really no guidelines that keep us from treating on race day, but the state veterinarian kind of likes things not to happen on race day. So we typically treat the day before the race and not race day, but they can treat on race day. So it's just how they want to work it. California is a state with no race day treatments or things like that. So you just want to make sure that you're following the regulations of the track. If you get there and they ask questions or they don't understand MagnaWave or PEMF, I've been to Arizona and didn't have problems myself. And typically you can just, if you're with a particular trainer and you're under their auspices, that's fine, because you're basically working as potentially a part-time employee of that trainer, and you operate accordingly. If there are any questions that you have, simply call the office, talk to Erin, and she's our certification trainer, and she can help you with regard to what various regulations are in various states, and what some of the track veterinarians or track management wants, the stewards, in order to have you work at the various tracks or for the various trainers in that area. So that's how I would approach it. And if you want to know from both sides, again, call Erin, 502-742-7868, and Erin can help you out in that type of situation. Great question, and hope you get it taken care of as you wish. Let's see, therapy. It's such a, the magnetic draw of pulsed electromagnetic field therapy, American Horse Publications. Let's have a look here and see what that particular article is about. I'll take a look at the article. It's a long article. There are some articles that have been written based on articles that were written back in 2011, 2010, where they had misinformation and misconceptions of PEMF, and they make claims as to what it is and potential dangers and so forth. And we'll look at that article and see what it is, and we'll come back and post accordingly. That question was posted in the certified practitioners page, and we will certainly take a look at that and get that article question answered. All right, 502-599-9722. Oh, yep, here we go. Chris has put up the new number. I forgot about that, 833 MagnaWave. If you want to call the office, dial 833 MagnaWave and talk to the person that will help you. Product specialist are Lee in customer service, Aaron in certification and training to help you get your questions answered at that point. Let's come back over here to Restream and see what's going on. No other questions there. I'll stay as long as we've got some questions and things to be discussed. So if you have a question, put it in. If there's a point of interest you would like to discuss, put that in, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a question. It can be something that you feel that just needs to maybe be discussed a little bit. We'd be happy to talk about that and have some fun time together doing and approaching those types of situations. While I'm waiting for someone to post a question, I'll just take a second here to mention to you jutehealth.com is my hemp site. If you've used hemp products, CBD products, and you're interested in taking a look at what we're doing, we grow the product, process the product, bottle the product, and ship it. So it's all totally controlled, third-party testing. We have non-THC and THC products. And so if you want to know more about it, go to jutehealth.com. If you're interested in purchasing, get a 20% discount using the code Jute49, or simply send me an email, and I'd be happy to contact you and answer any questions you may have if you might be interested in utilizing the hemp products as part of your business. They are available for wholesale purchase, so if you want to purchase wholesale and resell them to your customers, you can certainly do that as well. So that's enough on the Jute little commercial while I'm waiting to see autoimmune disease, something to talk about. Autoimmune is a problem. I mean, it's tough. I mean, because you get situations, you get a lot of different things going on, and you need to build up the body. And from that perspective, again, they're drilling and sawing, so I apologize for hearing. Can you hear that in the background, Chris? Maybe you can hear it in the background. Well, okay, it's there. I hoped it wouldn't be that much this morning, but at any rate, what we want to do and what we're trying to do is improve the homeostasis of the body. And if we can improve the blood cellular health, then we can help balance what's going on in the body. The body will be in a better position to balance itself, to better deal with autoimmune type of situations, and to strengthen the immune system and to strengthen everything that's going on. And certainly that's a situation for, if that's a prevalent issue, treating regularly may be a benefit to that, but just helping the balance and the overall health is something that can deal in that situation. Okay, let's see. Catherine says, I'm wondering, has the MagnaWave Soul, wondering if you have offers a trade-in option, mildly considering a stronger machine. Certainly that would be something that you might consider as you go along. Call the office, 833 MagnaWave, and ask to talk to Cameron, a sales associate, a sales manager. Cameron can talk about that with you, and certainly we want you to have the machine that you want, and there's no reason that we can't facilitate your questions with regard to upgrading and going from there. Good morning, Terry Joe. But that'd be a way to approach that. Let's see, it's not a question, but I have fibroids in my chest, and after a month of treating my bladder, I noticed the fibroids were totally gone after another success for MagnaWave. It is, Brianna, it's amazing how we hear those types of stories. Oh, great. Chris is putting up the questions now right on the screen, so you can see them as well as what I'm having looked at. This is our second week for StreamYard. We're using this particular program, and we're learning as we go what we can do and how well it can work. But it is amazing how you'll treat one thing and all of a sudden other things go away because of that. And I'll tell you a story. Another one. This is my wife, Dee Dee. they discovered several years ago, I guess now about 14, 15 years ago, that she had an ascending aortic aneurysm. Actually, this is going back to about 2003 when I was first using PEMF in my practice and moving along from there. But she had an ascending aortic aneurysm, and every 6 months they would do an MRI to take a look at it and make sure that it was not getting any larger and that it was not going to hopefully cause any problems. And about a year in, she's treating herself regularly with PEMF at that time because she was treating our dog. We had a boxer that had hip dysplasia, and she would lay with the dog and treat the dog at the same time. But at any rate, she went to the doctor. They did the test, and the doctor says, well, you know, it's getting a little smaller. And which you ask people, and that doesn't happen with aneurysms. They don't get smaller. They get bigger, and then they become a problem. And you certainly don't want an aneurysm to burst or anything like that. But the doc just made, you know, that's looking like it's smaller this time than it was. It was at 3 centimeters, so it was at a point to where they start worrying about aneurysms. If they're less than 3 centimeters, quite often they're just watching them and see what was going on. Well, this particular aneurysm was over 3 centimeters, and so they were again watching it very, very closely, and then all of a sudden it was smaller. We didn't even think about it at that point. But over the years, we began to treat Dee Dee for her herniated discs with the higher powered machines. That's where she really got some relief because of her fall. I told you that she had fallen and she couldn't raise her arm above her shoulder. And the high powered machine relieved her pain, gave her some total mobility. And then that whole treatment regimen took place that she's been using now for 12 or 13 years. But so anyway, we're on the road, and we were on the road 7 years full time in the tube, as she calls it, in the RV, and so she'd come home and they do the tests, and so back in 2011 or 12, she goes in for one of the tests. He does the scan, does the MRI, and comes out and says, "Well, it's gone." And the question was, "It's gone?" And as we so often run into, the comment was, well, it must have been a misdiagnosis. And so it just fluke, it's gone. But for 7 years, they were checking her every 6 months, and it was there, and it had decreased in size, which they didn't really understand. And then all of a sudden, 7 years later, after we were on the road, she comes home and he says, you know, we need to check that, do that aneurysm look again, and it was gone. And so to me, that's kind of one of the miracles. And I don't want to call it a miracle because they say don't talk about your business or your product being a miracle, because that people say, well, that's crap. But at any rate, to me, it's one of the miracles of what happens as you're talking about the fibroids. And it was gone. And it's been gone, hasn't come back, and nothing going on with that. And so to me, that's a miracle of PEMF and what it can do to the body. And you know, enough for that. But that's the story, and that's what's happened as we discuss it. And that's something to think about also as you're approaching your business and doing things with your clients. Share your stories. Share the experiences that you have personally had. Share the experiences that I have had. And you can look in the certified practitioner page or the MagnaWave corporate page. There's all kinds of stories and situations where people have had success with open wounds, closed wounds, bone breaks, anything you want to talk about. They're there. Different situations that good blood flow can help improve. But create a story. Create your background, and people want to hear stories. They believe in stories because they just like to hear a good story. And if you say it in a manner that you believe it, then they'll believe it, and they'll trust you for what you're doing, and that will help you help your clients better understand what you're doing and how you're going forward and working to build your business. And Brianna says, I wasn't even treating every day. I was treating once a week, every so often, and about a month mark of getting my machine, I noticed they were gone. There's just story after story after story that people can share, and that's a great one. You could talk about one of your associates, mention name, had this type situation, and it was relieved after X amount of treatments with the MagnaWave PEMF device, and that's what we're looking for, and that's what helps us help you and help us everyone grow and build their business as we move forward. Okay, let's see. Any other questions? Simply put them. I don't know what's going on over on Castbox, but not much. We do need to check that out though and see what we might have to do. I may need to do Castbox on a separate computer so we can just launch them both at the same time and have them going. That'd probably be the way we'll probably ought to test that, Chris, and see how that plays. All right. If you have any questions, simply put them in there. If you'd like to talk with me, send me a text, 502-599-9722. I'll call you back and we can visit accordingly. If we have no other questions, we've been here about 45 minutes, maybe 42 minutes because we started a couple minutes late. We'll be happy to. AOP certification is now available. What is that? Where'd that go? By the way, AOPP certification, AOPP, the Association of PEMF Professionals, is a place where you can go. You can secure your location on the map. There is a map showing PEMF practitioners all over the country, not just MagnaWave practitioners, but any practitioners all over the country, so people can understand the viability of PEMF and how it can be used. But if you're a practitioner, you can go to the AOPP. Position yourself on the map to show where you're located, and if you go to a particular show, you can change, as I understand, your location so people can see that you're at a given show or a given location in town and approach it from that. But they also have a certification program as part of the AOPP to give you additional credentials for your practice. And that's very interesting. So go over. Thanks for putting that up, Chris, and reminding me. It's the Association of PEMF Professionals. The website is PEMFprofessionals.com. PEMFprofessionals.com. Their charge at the AOPP is to help. Number one, practitioners have a place to be together so people can go and do research and have to get questions answered and look at studies and all of that type of situation. But they also, when we had the situation in New York earlier this year, as far as licensing at the tracks, the AOPP was helpful. They were just beginning at that point, but they were very helpful in writing some letters and communicating with the New York Racing Commission. And it just showed the stature of the industry, that there is a group out there of all practitioners, not just MagnaWave saying or another company saying that you need to do this or do that. So go check out the PEMFprofessionals.com, become a member, join that organization. We are a founding member of the organization, and we're looking forward to what the AOPP can do and grow in order to help all of our businesses and help PEMF gain a good stature in the medical field. There's some information on it right there on the screen. So check that out, the AOPP, Association of PEMF Professionals. You may find that very beneficial and rewarding for what you want to do, again, as you build and work with your practice. Any other questions, put them in there. If not, we're going to say sayonara. Have a great day. We'll be back next week, but not yet. I'm going to give it just a second. I always want to make sure that we don't miss any questions. 502-599-9722 if you'd like to visit with me. Let me just check and make sure. Oh, there is one that came through. Let's open this up and give a ring here. Sandra's got a question. Here we go. Let's bring it up. All right. Waiting for the answer. Ding.
Hello.
Good morning. This is Pat.
Good morning.
Turn your speakers down or mute your speakers.
Got it.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I had a question about using an attachment inside another attachment.
Okay.
Like in the instance of treating prostate cancer, would it be any benefit to have the client use the paddle while sitting inside the large loop, or like the butterfly also inside the large loop? Does that damage the coils, or?
It will not damage the coils. That's really a good question. So you're using a splitter, or you're using the vestidual type machine that you can run two attachments.
So I have to dual in with the splitter.
Okay. So to put the large loop and then put the paddle in the center of it and treat there's no reason that would not be useful, and there's no reason that couldn't be beneficial to what you're doing. Would it absolutely be necessary? When I had my prostate issue 4 years ago now, I just used the paddle or the butterfly, and I sat on it, and I used the semi machine at the time. We didn't have the Soul, but I used the semi just because I wanted to know what it would do in that situation of reducing the prostate or what it may do. And my results were very positive. All of my brothers, my 3 brothers, had cancer, prostate surgery at a younger age than me. And when my issue came up, I just assumed, here I go. It's happened to everybody in my family. But I got right on the machine, started using it daily, even sometimes twice a day, sitting on the coil for 15 or 20 minutes. And over a 10-week period of time, when they went in to do the biopsy, after MRIs, after ultrasounds, after physical checks, if you know what I mean, all that kind of stuff, the growth was dead and benign at that point. And so it was just a situation. That's what I did. But the idea of putting them inside each other is not a bad idea. And it would be interesting to see if someone is dealing with enlarged prostate or the fear of prostate, and the doctors are concerned, to be an interesting situation to see how it would turn out.
Well, he has been able to manage his cancer in stage 1 for 10 years.
Okay.
He actually damaged his heart by overtaking herbal supplements. So he's not done any traditional treatments at all, other than have his PSA levels checked. He's gone to jungles and laid on crystal beds and several different kinds of other things than traditional medicine. So I'm hoping this works for him. But like I said, he's had it for 10 years.
Wow, that's
stage 1.
That's incredible that he's been able to manage it like that.
Right.
And something you can go a couple other steps if you're talking about complementary processes along with the PEMF, would be the hydrowave water. To get him on a routine of that. And something that I also did when I had my scare was I did ozone. I did rectal ozone treatments. And that's an interesting process, but you can also do it. You can go through the nose, you can go through the ears in order to get the ozone into the body. Cancer does not like oxygen, and so anything you can do to improve the oxygenation, that would be the hydrowave, the ozone. Certainly the MagnaWave enhances the oxygenation of the blood, and all of that together can help fight the cancerous situation that could potentially be there or actually be there. And so there are some things there I'd be happy to discuss further if you wanted to go into that as to specifically what I did or where it's available from and how to approach that. But and Sandra Snell writes, Dr. Snell writes, I feel double attachment does increase the healing energy at that location. So certainly makes perfect sense to approach that. Okay, doke.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, send your email to support@MagnaWave PEMF and you'll be entered. Looks like you're the only entry at this point. Now it's probably going to get interesting. We've got about 10 minutes to go. We can get some more calls. But thank you so much for calling. I appreciate it.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye-bye. Great question when it comes to prostate. And again, there's a lot of stories. My story, here's a story that you could talk about and deal with that. We did a study in Cuba on dealing with prostate cancer and inflammation and so forth. And Chris is putting that study on the website shortly. If it's not already there, we talked about it yesterday. And so that'll be coming up to show the study and the results and how we did and what we did in that particular study. So take a look for that and learn something from that particular study. Let's see. No other questions there. Great question. Thank you, Sandra. Thank you for sharing that. If there's anything else, please throw it up there. Let me come out of this here and see if there's another one. Nope, no one else has sent a text. So there's the new logo. Chris has put the new logo on the bottom of the screen there, and the new certified logo on the top. We're excited about that, and maybe we'll do an animation. You know, that animation of it going across the logo would be a good open and close to our programs. I don't know if I can play an open on StreamYard. I need to get into that and find out if I can. But anyway, if you have any questions, just put them up there, and I'll take a look at them. 9:53. It looks like things have kind of slowed down here a little bit. Wait a minute. Has there been any, Janet asked a question, has there been any progress of other manufacturers providing their machines to the AOPP for testing as to strength, etc.? They are talking about doing that. We're certainly going to provide our devices so we can have that. And I think once it starts happening, once the membership of the AOPP begins to grow with practitioners, and they're wanting to see the standardization and so forth, that other manufacturers will do that. I mean, as the association grows, people will be required. I mean, in order to have the credibility they want, they're going to want to have someone third party do some testing and verify with the devices. The company that made the MagnaWave testing device, I understand, is also going to make a testing device for the AOPP with some different switching so they can be even more reliable and definite on the various power strengths that are available. But Janet, that's a great question, and I'm not really sure. I'll have to reach out to them and see where they are on the. I'm sure as they gain more members, they will send formal requests or official requests, I would say, to the other manufacturers to submit their devices for third-party evaluation. If nothing more, that everybody's on the same page. Everybody was tested the same and so forth. And just to give you a little background, in the beginning, years ago, the company in California that manufactures our machines based their strength on a mathematical calculation. If you have this type of resistor and this type of capacitor and this much transformer creating the power, you will get this much Gauss. But when you put a different coil on that machine, it changes that dramatically. And so when people were saying, well, these machines are 1.9 Tesla or they're 2 Tesla, whatever they were using back then, now people are saying their machines are 3 and 4 Tesla and so forth, and with no verification as to what they may be, other than a mathematical potential situation to calculate what they're saying it is. But it drops significantly. For example, if you have the most powerful attachment we have is the paddle. The paddle generates more Gauss, more energy into the body than any other attachment we have. The large wave wings, for example, treat a huge area of the body or a full back on a person, whatever it may be, and they get good muscle movement and massaging effect with it, and it shows which side of the horse is more sensitive than the other, shows which side of the person is more sensitive than the other. But the Gauss output of those wings, simply because of the overall massive size, is much less than other attachments. But so you want to look at that type of situation, and that's where I think the AOPP testing will work and come into play. Great question, though, Janet. I appreciate that very much. Is there any reason we can't continue to use up marketing materials with the old logo, new logo? Is the new logo just a rebranding? Yes. If you've got old materials, use them. There's nothing wrong with that. This is going to come. Materials that we have will start coming with the new logo. Gear and swag will start having, in fact, it already does, having the new logo and moving forward in that regard. It is a rebranding. We did some studies and found that we were due in order to cover all of our markets, a fresh branding. But continue to use the one of my favorite jackets has the old logo, and I love the old logo. It came to me in my sleep when we were starting this thing. I got up out of bed and did that on a piece of paper and kind of liked the way it looked, and that became the logo. And so I like it a lot. And I think over the years they cleaned it up and made it even look better. And we have incorporated the old logo into the new logo in a fashion. And if you look at the MW, the certified logo up in the corner, you look at it one time, you see the M, and you kind of blink your eye and you see the W. So it's almost a movement. It's almost it's a neat little effect. So that's what it is, a rebrand. But if you got materials, use them. That's certainly okay. The name is what the family, the MagnaWave family, is what you're talking to your customers about and what you're doing. So whether it's a new logo or an old logo, that's fine. I mean, just look at Coca-Cola. The way they do Coke on the Diet Cola can is different than the way they do cola or Coke on the regular sugar-based Coca-Cola, but they're both saying Coca-Cola, and they're both there, and so that's how that kind of entwines itself into the branding and the development of all that. Okay. Replying to the Association of PEMF Professionals, how does one become a verified practitioner? Okay, let's see, 2 questions. John, as far as the AOPP, if you go to the AOPP, it explains there what it takes to be a verified practitioner for the AOPP, and I don't know that off the top of my head. I probably need to get in there and take a look at that, but they do have verified and certified practitioners. They want to verify that you're real. They want to verify that your location or the area that you're working is real, so somebody can understand who you are and what you're doing, and that you are a PEMF professional. It's just something that a lot of us have felt that we need to bring that synergy together across all scopes of people that practice PEMF to show that it's to help move it along. We want to move it further down the road as far as understanding, recognition, viability, and so forth of this fantastic process that we're able to be a part of and use. Let's see, replying, is the new one in the upper right? Yes, that's the new one in the upper right. Don't like that, already looks old. What study did you do? LOL. Well, we did a marketing study. We employed a company to come in and analyze and ask some questions and look at things. And I'm hurt that you think it looks old. I'm a little sad, but that's okay. We'll see. John, I appreciate your input and comments, but that is the new one in the upper right-hand corner. Anything else this morning, folks? Ask me a question, send me some information. I'd be happy to answer it. It is 10 o'clock. We do need to move on to some other things. I appreciate you being here with me this morning. I look forward to joining you again next Tuesday. I'll be back down in Florida next Tuesday. I'm going to meet with the New York Mets next week. In Florida, and certainly we've been working with Kevin Babington, as you know, the 100-jumper rider who had a terrible accident and has had some paralyzation and his shoulders down. He is regaining, and we're treating him. He's treating himself. We set him up with a machine. He's treating himself daily. He's got feeling in his heels. He's able to move his right hand and arm. He's regaining motion there. So it's a very arduous process. It's a good question. Have you worked with hydrogen? I have not. There are some people that are doing that, and we probably need to approach that. Would be a great conversation to have to see how it could be hand in hand with as complementary to the methods. But again, Kevin Babington is showing some improvement and feeling and movement, and so we're excited about that. We're certainly praying for him, he and his wife Diana, that everything can come along well. He is training folks. He's in a chair, and he can go to the arena and the ring, and he talks just fine, and he's able to train, and that's wonderful. Able to do that and work with his clients and to continue to help them. So, okay. Thank you for being with me. I've enjoyed it, and we look forward to next weekend. Wave on to better health, and have a great day. Thanks. Bye-bye.